What's going on, everybody, and welcome on into episode, if you can believe it, 296 of the Garage Beers podcast, brought to you proudly here on the Orange and Brown Report. The OBR is Cleveland's oldest and largest independent Browns coverage site. You see the QR code in the corner, so get over to the OBR.com, scan the QR code. It'll take you right to the subscribe page. Fill out the information, get subscribed, and you can be a part of one of the best Cleveland Browns communities in all of Cleveland. That's the OBR, so make sure you scan and get in touch right there. We've got a humongous show for you here on Garage Beers. We're back. It's been a couple weeks, holidays, trips, all that kind of stuff. We hope you guys all had great holidays, as now we're back and in the swing of things here, and we've got a lot planned a little bit later in the show. Obviously, last weekend, tough show for the Ohio State Buckeyes, fall into the Miami Hurricanes. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about the college football playoff, talk about the Cleveland Cavaliers. We'll do a little check-in with them, see maybe they're getting themselves back right a little bit on the season. We'll talk about the Columbus Blue Jackets. What a night it was last night, even though they got their butts kicked. But, man, there was like a 40-second stretch where it was very fun. And we'll do so much more. But first, we're going to kick things off. And we'll bring him in just a minute, but we've got a great special guest. Spencer German's going to join us to talk a little bit about the Browns, a little bit about life. So very excited to have him on. We'll get him here in just a minute. Joining you, as always, I'm your host, Michael Keefe. Joining me right now, it's my one co-host out in Seattle. It's Joe Whalen. What's up, Joe?
No, not to disappoint, but, someone's got to show for the show.
All right, somebody's got to be here, right?
Someone's got to do it. Dude, I want to give it early.
296. Like, we've done this.
We've done this, a couple times. I want to give it just like an early cheers of the week to you.
Wow. Don't you start 296 episodes into this. You're going to start being nice to me.
Just one time.
Knock this shit off. Knock it off.
I mean, look, it's a momentous occasion. If you notice our mics set up over the past 296 episodes, we have flip-flopped back and forth between a number of options. The ones that we were previously using, Michael and I both had issues where the little plug thing on the back
got loose,
and you would just breathe, look, a shadow would fall on the microphone, and then the thing would pop out. I mean, it was just like the worst shit ever. Anyways, for Christmas, Michael got me a new microphone. I'm very excited for it. So thank you, sir.
No worries, man. You've earned it by putting up with us for 296 episodes. Our buddy Chad is going to be here in a minute. Chad was on put his son to bed duty, and I guess it got a little interesting tonight, but he'll join in just a minute. But that's not going to stop us from getting the show started. First of all, if you're joining us live here tonight, YouTube, Twitch, wherever, jump in the comments. It's already going. Param Jot, we haven't seen you in a minute, but he's back. He says, what's up? Phil, who is definitely a bot, even though his name says Phil is not a bot, is just saying hi to Chris. He only cares to say hi to Chris. That's fine.
Hey, Chris
says hi back to Phil. That's fine. Everybody's happy in the comments. Sean says Happy New Year's. So get in the comments, and we'll flash them up here. But listen, we're going to get things kicked off with our special guest. Very excited to have him on. It's a guy I got to talk to. I don't even know when this was, to be honest with you. A couple months ago, I guess. I don't know. The Brown season's a blur. I'm trying to forget as much of it as possible. But we had a great time. I had him on Inside the Browns Beat, my show that I do with Fred Greetham, and we had a great time talking Browns. And I thought, you know what, with everything going on, we need somebody that knows a little something, somebody that's going to bring a little juice to this, talk a little bit about the Cleveland Browns. And so we're going to bring him in right now. You know him from 92.3 The Fan, Locked On Browns, the Browns and Cavs roundtables, kind of all over the place. Does a great job covering our Cleveland sports teams, and he's joining us right now. We're bringing him in. It's Spencer German. Spencer, thanks for joining us here in the garage.
Of course. No, it's a pleasure. And yeah, I think you described it perfectly there. Kind of all over the place is a good way to describe my work situation as of now. It drives my wife crazy too. So, it is what it is. It pays the bills. So we'll stick with that.
Listen, all of us married men, and you're not doing your job right if you're not driving your wife crazy. I mean, that's step one, phase one of this whole thing, right? So you're doing great. All right. So obviously big stuff to talk about regarding the Cleveland Browns. But I just think it's not right for us to even start it. And I didn't even ask you. I know I invited you. And Spencer, you're a Rochester guy. So
I am. Yeah.
So I just assumed that you would have a beer with us. I didn't confirm it. And that's
I do have one. I was about to open it right here. Hold on one second. So I'm finishing up. I'm finishing up the what's left of the Christmas ale stock in the fridge. So
yes,
we still got a few left from the holidays. We hosted Christmas this year, so finishing these up. There you go.
It's always good when you host. I mean, there's a lot of work that goes into it, but especially when people bring their own beers and then leave them in the fridge. Love that. Such a perk.
So the thing I'll say about hosting, there was pros and cons. The cons being, like you said, it's a different kind of stress because you're just worried about like dinner going smoothly and is everything timed out okay and whatever. I will say though, like with a 3-year-old at home, it was nice that like his cousins were here. He had grandparents here. So we didn't have to worry about like entertaining him. It was like I'd kind of look up every like 20 minutes and be like, where is he? And I'd be like, oh, he's just playing over there. Like that's fine. He's not bothering me. So that's okay. So that was nice. It was just kind of the stress of the holidays and all those things. But yeah, like you said, it was easy to just kind of like stay where you are. You didn't have to travel anywhere. So that made it nice. But pretty much went off without a hitch and no complaints. And like I said, I got the extra beer that's left over in the fridge. So there you go.
I love that. Where's the kid? Who cares? Give me another beer. Fine. So Spencer kicking things off with this is our Garage Beers of the Week segment. Didn't even say it. It's not like we haven't done this before. But kicking things off with a Christmas ale. Joe, what's getting drank out there in Seattle? What's happening?
We're going kind of random today. We got I went to Total Wine, did a little build a 6-pack. So we got some weird stuff coming up. But we have a Van Ewing from North Connecticut. North Haven. Everything's North Haven in Connecticut.
I was going to say New Haven.
Can I get a witness? Triple IPA. It's good. Dang. I do have it featured in my Corn Palace mug from the great Mitchell, South Dakota. If you've never been to the Corn Palace, it's a Corn Palace thing to do in the middle of South Dakota. It's really cool.
Is that like one of those things you pass if you make like a West Coast trip? It's like the big ball of whatever rubber bands and then the corn pallet. Yeah, I've heard of it. I've never actually done that trip, but I've heard of it.
I mean, it's incredibly impressive. It's literally like a theater that the entire outside is made out of like corn cobs and corn husks, and they do like art of like the Statue of Liberty, the Eiffel Tower, the Sydney Opera House. And it's like, I mean, that's sweet. Got me to pull over, so and buy a cup out of it. So
I remember going to Florida as a kid in the car, and you passed that south of the border place that everyone always we wanted to stop so bad as kids. We were like, "Oh, Mom, Dad, we got to stop." My mom and Dad were like, "Nope, we're going. We're gonna keep driving. We're driving right through this place."
Yeah, don't even look out the windows. Damn it, we are driving right through this. All right, so Joe, triple IPA. I appreciate your dedication to the big beer here tonight.
Yeah,
I'm doing the same thing as you are, Spencer. We're getting rid of some of the Christmas beers. Makes me sad a little bit, but
same.
It also means maybe we're working our way towards spring. A little opening day coming up in a few months, so we're working our way towards those beers. To this day, this remains my favorite of the regular Christmas beers. It is Southern Tier's 2Xmas. Joe and I did a blind Christmas beer tasting a couple years ago.
Very fun.
And this clearly ran away with it. And we had like Great Lakes Christmas Ale, Thirsty Dog, Southern
Holly Jolly.
We had a whole bunch of them. And this one ran away with it. And ever since then, I'm like, it's like in my head that this one's the best. So I saved this one for kind of last with the Christmas beers. But we're doing 2Xmas. And those are our Garage Beers of the Week. You guys let us know what you're drinking in the comments. Chad is going to be here at any point, and I'm sure he'll come in blazing with some kind of weird beer. But you let us know what you're drinking in the comments. We'll flash it up here, but now it's time for us to get into the meat and potatoes here of episode 296 of Garage Beers, and it starts with the Cleveland Browns. And listen, lots of news already. Lots of big emotions happening in Browns world right now. Lots of reckless speculation, all the above. But let's take it backwards just a minute, guys. And Spencer, again, for us, I know you have to do this every day. But for us, I think our last show was the week of Christmas.
Christmas, yeah.
And we recorded it even before that. I think we released it on the 23rd of December. That's the last.
The Browns have won twice since then.
Yeah, what the hell? But now that we see how everything is played out, especially just with records, where things fell, draft order, all of that. The last we talked, The Browns were a 3-win football team. They were going into a game against the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think we all picked Pittsburgh to win like 400-0. And then they had their last game against the Bengals. The Browns went and won those games. What are our feelings about that? Because a lot of people are discussing, well, man, if the Browns just would have lost this or lost that, or what are our feelings about the Browns winning those last 2 games when in the long run, what does it really mean other than they got a couple wins over division opponents?
Yeah, listen, I think it's easy to have like the revisionist history of, especially knowing like the Raiders won that last game, because in theory, if the Browns had lost those 2 games, they probably would have been the number one pick, because it goes off a strength of schedule or whatever after that, and their strength of schedule was lower than everybody's, even the teams ahead of them. But
Yep.
they have a better record, so they followed back to 6. I don't know, like it's this weird fine line between, I understand where fans root for at that point in the season, fans are rooting for draft position, and I also want to make it clear, like, that's not always about just the quarterback thing. Like, I think everyone always thinks like, why do you want the number 1 pick anyway? Like, Fernando Mendoza sucks, or whatever their opinion is, and that's fine if you don't like Fernando Mendoza, but it was more so just about like having the flexibility, right? Like, if you get the first pick, you can trade back and get a haul. If you have the first pick, you can stay put and draft somebody else. Like, you have the rights to whatever player you want at number 1 overall. Nobody's off the board. So there's just so many options there. And I get where that line of thinking is from fans. But I thought, like, in that locker room after the Steelers game, you heard some of the most poignant things you could from players on why, losing isn't in their DNA. And I 100% like respect that though their perspective on it. They're putting their bodies on the line every single week. This is their livelihood. Shelby Harris, I thought, had some of the best quotes on it, just talking about how I'm a free agent at the end of the season. My tape is my livelihood. My tape is my resume. I can't go out there and just like lay down because, hey, I hope the Browns get a better pick. I might not even be here next year. So how does that affect me? So yeah. I 100% get like both sides of the coin. I'm not somebody who ever says like root for losing, but I understand and I lean into it a little bit where it's like, hey, it's better for them if they lose. Yeah. But, I think it's probably for the better that for the team that they finish the season strong. I don't buy into like that stuff carrying over to next year or anything like that, but I think they feel good about the fact that they, in a losing season, in a disappointing year where your coach gets fired, nonetheless, you finish strong and you probably at least gave them something to think about when it came to what should we do moving forward. I think that's commendable. And, you end up with the 6th pick. Maybe this isn't the year where you want to take a quarterback or you can get a quarterback. If they really wanted to, they theoretically could try to trade up. They have the 2 first to do so. So we'll see what happens. But, yeah, I understand, again, like both sides of that coin, if you will.
Yeah. For me, there's another thing that comes into play, and this is total fan speak for sure, but like you beat Pittsburgh and Cincy. I'll take those wins I don't care when in the season those ones happen. Baltimore, Pittsburgh, Cincinnati. I don't care whether those wins happen week 1 or week 18 or anywhere in between. I always want to beat those teams. Now, had the Browns gotten Jim Sorgied, and I know it'll take old school Browns fans, not old school, but fans that have been around for a minute to understand that reference from 2007. It'd be different if it was like they played week 18 against the number 1 seed in the AFC who already had it locked up, and then they played all their backups and the Browns went out and won that game and it cost them the number 1 pick. Then I'd be like, son of a, you know what I mean? Like, then I'm mad about it. But there's never going to be, I do not care whether it bumped them from 1 to 6 or 2 to 6 or whatever, because you still have 6. You're going to get a great player there. I don't care. Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, Baltimore win every time. That's all I care about.
Yeah, well, and I especially with Pittsburgh, like I know how much the city hates Pittsburgh, and I thought this on the Bengals side of it, like how there was like this full circle moment for Andre Schmidt. Like who wasn't rooting for him to make that field goal at the end, just because of how week 1 went and you cost the team a win and all these different things. Like that's cool stuff for fans too. And you had like the Myles Garrett chasing the sack record. Like there were still things that like you could feel good about. And honestly, like you bring up the where they are draft position wise part of this. My understanding, it feels like from what a lot of fans I've heard say is that they don't really think there's a quarterback in this draft that's worth a damn anyway. So if that's how you were thinking about and I get it, like I said, you want the flexibility, but like if there's not a quarterback that's there, if you're drafting 6, okay, maybe it's about getting that quarterback next year anyway. So, like it's a fine line because you're right. Like you got to be in a certain area of the draft to be able to even have a chance to land those quarterbacks. The Steelers are a prime example of that, right? Like they've won enough where they're never in that conversation to find that next franchise quarterback, and it's why they keep trying these old retreads to try to figure it out. So you don't want to end up like that in that purgatory. But I don't necessarily think next year is going to be so much better that the Browns don't have a chance to, move up the board if they really wanted to, or be in a position to draft a quarterback if they want to. We'll see.
Well, and 6, you could listen. You still have flexibility at 6, right? Like it's not one, but there is a real chance when you look at the way the top of this draft looks. There's a lot of big playmakers in this draft, like a lot of them, and you got to assume, especially with New York up there. Obviously, Vegas is going to take Mendoza. They might as well just turn the pick in now and just be done with it. But like, you're going to get to 6, and there's probably going to be 3 or 4 players there. Like you might be looking at Reuben Bain, you might be looking at Carnell Tate, you might be looking at Tyson, or you might be looking at Fano, or you might, like there's going to be big players there that some team might want to come from. Kansas City might want to come from 9 to 6. Or somebody might want to come from 10 to 6. And you want to talk about flexibility for next year. Maybe you pick up another first rounder. You know what I mean? Like you still have flexibility, or you could pick up your left tackle right there. You could pick up your star wide receiver right there. So again, here's my thing. And I know this maybe is a little bit weird, but I'm almost a little bit relieved. Like I either wanted one and you get your pick of Mendoza, or Dante Moore. Maybe you like Moore better, whatever. I'm kind of glad they're not. I feel like they're not now in a position to like reach for a quarterback just to do it. They got to figure out quarterback, but I don't want them to just get the third best guy just to do it. I'd rather have them get the left tackle now, get the wide receiver, and we'll figure out the quarterback. But like, let's build up the rest of the team.
Yeah, I think that's really fair. It's a weird philosophy because I do subscribe more to the idea that like if your quarterback's there, you got to get him. Like if let's just say theoretically, like if they fall in love with Mendoza and they're like, we'll give the Raiders whatever they want for Fernando Mendoza, I think you do it because and maybe it's not the right evaluation, but if they think he's the guy, you got to go get your guy. I don't know. There's a lot of things that kind of intersect here because I understand the philosophy of like, hey, go address the offensive line first. Go get a wide receiver first. But what's funny about that is like those are the 2 positions, maybe most notably, that Andrew Berry's failed to draft the most, like and develop. Like there's not a lot of talent on this roster at those positions because of Andrew Berry. So I don't know that it's like the slam dunk that everybody thinks it is, as much as like finding a quarterback isn't a slam dunk either. I also think, especially on the offensive line, we're seeing more than ever that there's not necessarily like all these ready-made guys who come from college to the NFL and can just like be plug and play. And I think that's a problem too. So they're going to have to identify the right guys. Andrew Berry's still here. He's going to get to make these picks. It'll be interesting to sort of see, but you are right. There's still some flexibility there. And, maybe they move down again and get another pick for next year. So they still have some of that flexibility as well. That's the other way you create flexibility is either you have like the top 1 or 2 picks and you can trade back, or you already have, you have 2 first rounders, and then like we can package these together and do whatever the hell we want. Yep. If they do that again for next year, it sets them up to do the exact same thing.
That's right. Hey, just real quick before we continue on with the Browns, I got one more pass thing I want to talk about before we talk about what's going on this week. But I see him lurking in the shadows back here and doing it outside in the dark. You can see his breath. We got to get Chad in here. Chad Meyer, what's going on, man? Kids finally asleep?
Oh, you can still take them to the fire station until they're 17. So, we got, yeah. Whoo! Yeah, but I'm here. Yeah, I'm outside. My lovely wife decided to switch bedrooms last weekend because Fletch needed a bigger room. So now our bedroom is downstairs, which effectively took away my winter podcast spot.
Oh, no.
Here we go. There we go. Gonna have to figure something out. Need a space heater. Luckily, it just feels like a fall night tonight, so it's kind of a halfway decent night. So I'm not totally freezing.
Get yourself some hand warmers.
Yeah. I'm grabbing a space heater.
ASAP. Technology is unreal now. Those things get so hot.
Okay.
So hot.
All right, what am I supposed to do with the rest of my body?
What are we talking about?
Do with the rest of my body?
We got a show. We're on a show, guys. We're live. We are actually on a show here. Chad, real quick, what's the beer tonight?
Flannel Fest, Sam Adams.
Good one. Solid.
Yeah.
Hey,
All right.
There you go.
Joe, you're messing around with your microphone over there. Chris in the comments says, "Quit goofing around, Joe."
Yeah.
yeah, I think just goofing.
You're getting scolded in the comments. All right, so
Quit being a bozo.
Chad, we were looking backwards a little bit at the Browns. We looked at the last 2 weeks, the wins. But there's one other thing we got to talk about, and that is there's a record. Myles Garrett breaks the sack record. And man, oh man, did it take longer than anybody wanted it to. But Myles Garrett finally gets through, brings down Joe Burrow, which he has done so many times in poor Joe Burrow's career against Myles Garrett. But Myles Garrett is the all-time sack leader. Something we're celebrating big time here in Cleveland, but man, the takes started flying, guys. Obviously, people in Pittsburgh are pissing their pants, being mad about, TJ Watt did it in one less game or whatever. Michael Strahan even comes out and says, well, I'm the 17-game sack holder. But I want to point something out. Myles Garrett did it in significantly fewer pass rush attempts than either one of those two guys did. And he did it on a terrible team where the opposing team didn't have to throw the ball as much. I mean, what Myles Garrett did this year was unbelievable. And I think, and Spencer, get your take on it. But for me, to talk about Myles Garrett's year, you almost don't talk about him breaking the record at the end. What I think about in terms of how incredible this feat was for Myles Garrett was that we were actually at a point where we were saying, all right, Myles is 5 sacks short of the record. He could get that this week. Yeah. That's the kind of season Myles Garrett had, was that we were sitting here talking about how Myles could get 3 or 4 sacks this week. Who do you ever say that about? It was unbelievable the way he played this year. And yeah, it took longer because in the last 2 weeks against Pittsburgh and Cincinnati, he faced double or triple teams 74% of the time because those two teams did not want to let him get that record, but he got it anyways. I mean, just what a feat. What a feat for Myles Garrett.
Yeah, I think you described it well, where it was like there was a stretch where we thought for sure like any week he could just break it. And I think that's what's honestly people are gonna do what they're gonna do with the record. They're gonna put an asterisk on it, and they're gonna say it's not the real record because he did in 17, whatever. I think like for me, what I'm gonna remember about it is what you said, like the fact that he was so incredible this season that there was like 5 weeks to go in the season. We were like, he could literally break it any one of these weeks because we knew how dominant he was. And you're going to have to account for the fact that like Myles gets such an immense amount of attention from teams. I mean, we've seen everything at this point. Like we've seen clips of 3 offensive linemen trying to block him at a time. We've seen clips of him getting chipped by 2 tight ends and an offensive line. Like we've seen it all with Myles. He's seen it all. So that's, no disrespect to Michael Strahan, no disrespect to TJ Watt, great players in their own right. TJ can probably relate a little bit more to what Myles sees, but I think Myles is obviously the better player of the two. But like, I don't think Michael Strahan was getting quite as much attention back in his day. And let's be honest, like his sack to break the record was the most gimme sack there ever was. So do we know he would have even gotten to 22.5 if Brett Favre didn't give himself up? And I know people were saying Joe Burrow did the same thing, but he didn't. But no. Yeah, like I think it's one of those just like, let people say what they're going to say about it. Like we don't need Myles to have done it in 16 games to realize how incredible of a player we are witnessing in real time. Like he is easily the second best player in franchise history for the Browns. And by the end of this thing, there might be a case that he's better than Jabron. I think he probably has to win at least a Super Bowl to do that. And in terms of like NFL history, like he's going to go down as one of the greatest defensive players of all time. People are already saying that now, that he's one of the best ever. So he didn't need to do it in 16 games to solidify like how great he is. But I see him as the sack king. I'll put it that way.
I think my favorite thing from the record-breaking game was
yeah.
actually on the broadcast where they're showing all the quarterbacks that he's sacked the most. You have like Lamar, Joe Burrow, Ben Roethlisberger, and then you have Drake May with 5 in one game from this year.
That is crazy. Yeah, May's probably having nightmares about that still to this day. Like, remember that time I got sacked 5 times by Myles Garrett? That honestly, that was the first game where it was like he's gonna have a real shot at this thing because he was like hovering around, like he was just over like I think like he was at like 12 or so at that point.
Yeah,
it was like okay, he's like midway point of the season. Like, is he gonna be able to get there? And then he had 5 in a game, and it was like okay, yeah, he's gonna get there.
I don't even want to think about the fact that he sacked a quarterback 5 times in a game they got dominated in, but he got 5 sacks. It's
Wasn't that such a microcosm of the Browns season?
Yes.
Like,
Oh
hey,
my God,
Miles, look at this incredible player you have, but then you guys win 5 games. It was unfortunate.
That was always my thing. It's like, right, we have the best defensive player, arguably the best defensive player to ever play the game. We have now the current sack king, and he sets the record in a season where he goes 5-12. Like, oh, that's great. You guys have Myles Garrett. How many Super Bowls does he win? Oh, none.
Hey, stop it.
You're not done getting those reminders, by the way, because like after this season is done, we're gonna all be sitting there Super Bowl week at the award ceremony, the NFL honors, and he's gonna win Defensive Player of the Year, and I'm pretty sure Carson Wentz is gonna win Defensive Rookie of the Year.
Oh, for sure.
We're gonna be like, holy shit! It's gonna be like the final reminder as we're getting ready to watch the Super Bowl like 2 days later of like, this team had an incredible defense with some incredible players on it. And it all went to waste because their offense was garbage. It's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why we got to shortchange the people all the time, right? Like, I mean, like you said, you got Strahan saying something, right? It goes all the way back to Gastineau, right? Gastineau has had some sort of sack thing that he is complaining about. Jared Allen from the Vikings has an argument for a 23rd sack. Like, I don't understand why we have to shortchange people and just can't appreciate greatness. I think Joe Burrow did fall, but I think it was a different fall. I think Brett Favre wanted to give Joe Burrow that, or wanted to give Strahan the fall, or the sack king, or whatever. But I think Joe Burrow was like, just saw Miles' get off and was like, he's going to get me anyway, and just kind of fell down.
That's probably tired of getting hurt.
Yeah. No, honestly, that's exactly how I feel. Like the Strahan one, it was like Brett Favre was like running towards him, and he was like, I might as well just go down. He just kind of like went down. Joe, it was clearly like, Miles' get off was so fast, and he was coming around the corner, and he like sees him, and he's like, I'm gonna try to run, and then he was like, it was more like he kind of like stumbled and was like, I'm just going down, and then Miles was just like right there to get him. Like he knew he was kind of already dead to rights. Yeah, I don't think he like gave himself up the same way. I don't know. People,
no, not the same way. But I think it was a
always
different
trying
scenario.
to like shortchange him. It's like whatever. I mean, if you want to talk about fluky sacks, like let's just call a spade here. The one that he got, the half sack he got on Josh Allen was the fluky.
Sure.
They literally said in the press box, Mason Graham gets the sack, and then like, I don't know, 20 minutes later, they're like, we changed the score, and I was like, okay, somebody paid somebody, and they were
Miles got a fingertip on him.
We'll slip you an extra, $100 today if you make sure that this half of this goes to Miles. They couldn't sell it as a whole sack to Miles either. They were like, we'll get half, and Alex Wright will get half.
You guys are right. Like Joe went down, but the get off, Miles, unbelievable rep there. I mean, go watch it. He is at Joe Burrow in like a half a second. Having said that, as Joe was going down, maybe this is just my Browns PTSD, but I was like screaming. I was like, nobody else touch him. Nobody. I just see like a hand coming in from like, here comes Mason Graham just playing hard and just like getting a hand on him and just taking this. I was just like, please don't let anybody touch him. Other special cheers of that moment. You brought him up before. Great quotes. We've had him on this show. He's great. Shelby Harris with one of the great moments of all time, high-fiving the referee coming in after.
Oh, that was funny. That was really funny. Shelby's had some really good like viral moments this season, whether it's saying things. He called who did he call? Juwan Jennings.
Yes.
Juwan Jennings a hoe after
yes.
after the 49ers, like all-time year for Shelby Harris. He didn't break any records, but man, he was really giving us some good content. I'll say this too. One of the funniest outcomes from the Miles sack thing was the quotes from the Bengals after.
Yes.
Jamar Chase is out here like, oh, they better pause the game for me when I do something late in my career. And then you got Zach Taylor talking about how we're fighting for our lives out there. Like, dude, your team is out of the playoffs. Like, and the stupidest part in all of it was like they acted like the drive like was completely derailed by that. They scored a touchdown on that drive to take the lead in the game. So it wasn't even like you changed the outcome all that much. Like you still lost. It just sounds like sour grapes. This was like a historic moment in the history of the NFL. You can't take, an extra 30 seconds just to let Miles do his thing and celebrate. It was ridiculous. It just sounded like a bunch of crybabies.
After I catch my 10th pass. Yeah, because your 10th pass is the same as the sack record, you dipshit.
I love Zach. We're fighting for our lives out here. Zach, do you have any idea what your season has been?
You had 5 minutes left till you're on your way to Cancun. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Remember those double-digit losses? What are we talking about here? We derailed a little bit there because you guys perfectly segued it into the next topic, which was, as we were talking about, Myles Garrett, Defensive Player of the Year. He's going to be. Carson Schlesinger is I feel like at the least he's going to be Rookie of the Year. I think he should be an All-Pro. He was unbelievable this year. And he had all these feats and accomplishments. Denzel Ward going to another Pro Bowl. All these feats and accomplishments, and you win 5 games. And the end result is what happened a couple days ago when we found out that Kevin Stefanski was relieved of his duties after 2 playoff runs, after 2 Coach of the Year awards, but really 2 really good seasons and 4 really difficult seasons for Kevin Stefanski, and going 3-14 and following it up with 5-12 was not enough for Kevin to keep his job. The Browns fire Kevin Stefanski. So I guess the initial question I have for you, Spencer, Chad, Joe, without knowing what's coming next, is do you just have the gut feeling that was the right move for the Browns?
I'll let you guys go first because I've been doing a lot of talking.
Do I have a gut feeling? Go ahead, Joe. Go ahead.
I was going to say it's just tough. The team's in an impossible situation with the Deshaun contract. I would have loved to see Kevin stay. I just don't something had to change, and if it couldn't be buying out that contract and moving on, then that's the only thing you can do, I guess, at this point. I think at some point, you do have to start passing blame around for this offense being what it was this year. It was horrific, horrible. At no point was there any hope, I think, for this offense, top to bottom. There were some bright spots with, God, I can't even remember their names now. It's all Judkins and Fannin.
Yeah.
Right.
But something had to change. I think you had to get some new life in this team, shake it up. I hate that it came to this. I don't think it's Kevin's fault that it got to this point, but to go forward with this team and to hopefully get out of this Deshaun Black Cloud era, you have to make a change like that.
My gut feeling is, my gut feeling is no, it's not the right move, because when I look back on this, it feels like in the end, the Deshaun trade kind of just broke Kevin. I mean, whether it was emotionally, something that's, I'm obviously he was never going to show it. But I think with the way the Deshaun trade worked out, I think it just broke him, because it seemed like ever since then he was coaching this team and completely differently than he did in his Coach of the Year years, right? It felt like I don't know, maybe this is too simple, but it just felt like it wasn't even trying as hard, right? In years past, you saw what he could do with this offense when it had talent on it, and bringing Deshaun in, it kind of crippled what he was trying to do with this Browns team, with this Browns offense. And it was never the same after that bullshit year with Deshaun. So my gut feeling is no, it wasn't the right move, but at the same time, the head coach in the NFL is usually the fall guy for a team situation. So, and someone had to pay the price for these last 2 years, and Kevin was going to be it. So I get it, but my gut feeling is no, it wasn't the right move.
I think you're 100% right to point to the Deshaun trade as what ultimately is, however many years later now, 3 years later, the demise of Kevin Stefanski. Because think about everything that transpired after that, right? You didn't have first round picks, so you couldn't draft more talent and supplement the roster behind certain position groups, and that's why the offense is where it's at. he was forced after the first year to fire his offensive coordinator, hire an offensive coordinator that was supposed to be better for Deshaun. That went terribly. He had to give up play calling the first time. Then that season's shot and he gets hurt again. Then he comes back this year and he takes the play calling back, but he doesn't have maybe the players that he wants to run the things he wants to do. I mean, and this is where I think Kevin isn't blameless, because the offense that he was running early on in his tenure, it was a lot of outside zone. Of that was gone. All of that, like, I don't know if he like lost the plot, if it was more of a personnel thing. It just wasn't the same offense. And I get, like, the NFL evolves. Like, every year it's different. But when you watch, like, Kyle Shanahan, his offense is still rooted in the principles that, like, made him a great offensive mind. And I think Kevin lost that this year. Yeah. And the other thing I point to is, like, you see other teams that have injuries and, like, not all the most talented players. And those coaches that are offensive, like, great offensive minds, they're find ways to win despite that. Like, they find creative ways to win and get their offense doing at least some things week to week. And you just didn't see a lot of that this year. There was a lack of creativity. So that's where I think he's not blameless. But I think it all kind of does equate back to the Deshaun trade, and that's ultimately what did him in. My biggest thing was, I like, first of all, and I think Kevin would tell you, if you got him in, like, a candid moment, you know, do you understand why you're getting fired? If you asked him that, I think he would say, yeah, listen, like, you win 8 games in 2 years, like, your job's never safe, and I know that that's the gig. I think he knows that that's the gig. So, on one hand, I'm like, it makes total sense because somebody has to sort of pay the price here. But my biggest thing was, I think what looks wrong about when you talk about, like, what my gut feeling is, my gut feeling was something needed to change. But I hate that it's Kevin being the one who gets fired without Andrew Berry, and Andrew Berry gets to stay. To me, it was both get fired or both stay, because the Haslam's are dug into their plan and they think it's going to work. You can't split them up in my mind, because yes, Kevin was part of the problem, I think, at least these last couple of years, and there were some issues there. But is it his fault that the offense looks the way it looks with the players that they have? Is it his fault that they've missed on a bunch of wide receivers and offensive linemen and the talent isn't there? Like, that's an Andrew Berry issue. And the Deshaun trade, frankly, is an Andrew Berry issue. Like, that's on his watch. He's the GM of the team. So, to me, splitting them up is where I'm like, that doesn't sit well with me. Because I think the problems with this team went well beyond just Kevin Stefanski.
So I'll chime in on this, because I do feel a little bit I feel a little bit differently. I kind of feel the same in that I wish they would have kept them together. Remember, Kevin hired Andrew Berry. It wasn't the reverse of that.
Yeah.
But I would have kept them both. I think the Paul DePodesta thing comes into play here, in that with him being gone, and then you're going to fire Kevin Stefanski. You fire Andrew Berry, you just put Jimmy Haslam on an island, and there's nobody else there to help him. He's on his own, and he's going to bring in the other people. I think that comes into play here a little bit from Jimmy's perspective. But, you know, I think it also shows you, I think it was almost, I think you guys are right. And Chad, you said it. You win 8 games in 2 years. Somebody's going to take the fall, and it's probably going to be the head coach. I don't like that it was Kevin Stefanski that takes the fall. But I think it also shows you, you know, going all the way back to these conversations about who's responsible for the Deshaun trade and all that. It's Kevin, it's Andrew, and it's Jimmy Haslam. And I think this is Jimmy Haslam showing you, like, yeah, I was a part of that. And I'm not saying he was being the meddling owner guy, but I think he was part of it. I think they all signed off on that. And so I think he's giving Andrew Berry a little slack. I think there's a lot of other things in play here. You can fault Andrew Berry for a lot of things. And we could talk about him missing on certain things, but man, he hasn't had a lot of capital to use to try to hit on things either. You could say he missed on Jed Wills. That's his first ever draft pick. Like, it happens. You miss on guys sometimes, but he hit on a lot of guys too. And I'm not even going to say he should keep his job just because of this recent draft class. But I do think sometimes we're evaluating his draft picks as if Cedric Tillman was a first-round pick. He wasn't. They just didn't have a pick before him. So everybody's view is shifted because they didn't have those picks. Now, again, that goes back to the trade, but I think it again shows you that that's Jimmy Haslam telling you, like, I'm not faulting these guys for that trade because I was a part of it and I signed off on it. So, and they put themselves in cap hell. And there you you'd be hard pressed to find 3 or 4 GMs that are better at dealing with the cap. You'd say all you want about draft history, acquisitions, trades, signings, whatever. But you'd be hard pressed to find a bunch of guys that are better at dealing with the salary cap than Andrew Berry is. And I think that comes into play too.
Yeah, I think the philosophy he has of like, the kicking the can down the road thing is more modernized. And the whole idea is like, hey, this dead money in 2025, well, in 2026, $10 million in dead money is more like $8 million in dead money because the cap's going to go up. So I 100% get like the thought process there. And I actually think Mike, where I think your grandest point is do you want Jimmy Haslam doing this by himself? Like, do you want him picking a new coach and GM and everything by himself? And so he probably did keep somebody around that he wants to confide in, and that's Andrew Berry. So I think I can understand that for sure. I will say this though, what I'm fascinated about with this coaching search is like and I was actually going to throw this out there for the group. Like, if this ends with like John Harbaugh coming here or something, I think everyone would say, like, my gut feeling is this was the right move, like 100%.
Yeah, totally awesome. Great move.
But I also wonder if landing somebody like John Harbaugh would maybe mean he comes in and says, I don't want to work with Andrew Berry. So if you want me, this is what has to happen. And I would say,
done
do whatever the hell it takes to get John Harbaugh. That's my opinion. But
now, I'll jump in on that because I've seen so many people saying like John Harbaugh's not going to want to come in and work with Andrew Berry. It's a long.
And to be clear, I don't know that for sure. This is just a hypothetical. I'm not reporting anything.
I think through the Harbaugh career in Baltimore and the way they operate, it would tell you completely different than that. Andrew Berry operates a lot like that.
Maybe Mike Tomlin's a better example for this because we know Mike Tomlin doesn't feel too fondly of Andrew Berry. So maybe Mike Tomlin gets fired after Monday night because they lose that game, and he's available, and the Browns are like, "Hey, you want to come to Cleveland?" He's like, "If you get rid of Andrew Berry, maybe I'll come." I think then you got to get rid of Andrew Berry.
Yeah, probably.
I want to go back, Mike. I want to go back here for a second because, like, it raised an interesting question in my mind when you were talking about Andrew not having the draft capital to hit on guys, right? To go get guys. Isn't there something to be said though? Like whether it was Jimmy, Andrew, Kevin, like whoever did this, isn't there something to be said though that it was by his own doing that he didn't have that capital? Right? Like, because if you're going to make a trade like that, like you better have a plan to be able to surround that quarterback with the necessary weapons that he had. Yes, he had Amari, but you better have a plan in place to supplement not having that capital.
I think, but just to come back on that, everybody's built to not want to make excuses, and it feels like now at this point, it feels like talking about Deshaun Watson is making excuses when the reality is it's not. I think there was a plan in place, and I think they were ready to roll with it, and I think they were ready to get through suspensions and all that. I don't think anybody could have. I won't say anybody because I don't think anybody could have forecasted that Deshaun Watson forgot how to play football. We were all talking about worst case scenario I won't say worst case scenario with Deshaun Watson because that's a whole different topic. But on the football field, we were all talking about worst case scenario. Oh man, even if he's only like 70% of what he was at Houston, it's going to be great. Even if he's lost his step, nobody. And you're putting your 2020 glasses on if you say differently. Nobody thought Deshaun Watson just forgot how to play football. Like was just going to be so bad that he was unplayable. That now you have all this money tied up in a guy that you can't even put on the football field because he's so bad. And now you got guys that want to leave. You got Amari Cooper. We could say all we want about it, but I think the onus of all of their failures. The reality is the reason Kevin's fired, the reason Andrew Berry might be on the hot seat if they're bad again next year, probably is, and the reason Jimmy Haslam's having to do these sad press conferences is because Deshaun Watson sucks as bad as he does. He just sucks so bad.
Yeah. I do lean more Chad's direction to a degree because I agree, like, if you make that trade, you have to know and believe, like, in your heart of hearts, like, hey, we got the staff that we're not going to have first round picks for a couple of years. We can identify guys in the second and third round that we think can be talents. Like, you got to have the confidence to do that. And they missed on those guys, frankly. And then I think like 2 of the 3 years they traded out of the second round and they only had third round picks. And it's like, so now you're even decreasing the value even more of the players that you're getting. And we all know, like, you build your roster through the draft. I agree, though, like, nobody could have forecasted necessarily that he was going to be this bad and like not be able to play football. Clearly they didn't account for the mental side of it as much as it's impacted him. I think that's both I don't think he was ready for the backlash he was going to get. I also know that the team was anticipating that first year that he was only going to get like 6 games or something like that. And it turned into 11 or whatever the hell it was. And that basically meant your first season with him was a wash. So that didn't help matters either. So there was a lot there for sure. Like the problems with this team right now certainly all do extend from the Deshaun trade. And then it all just kind of comes down to like, who gets the blame for that? Jimmy Haslam's tried to take the blame for it. I think that's admirable that he's doing that. I think it speaks to Jimmy sort of being different in the way he approaches things, which is good. But I still feel Andrew was the one sort of at least steering the ship on most of that. I'm not saying it was only his idea, but I think like he was kind of steering the ship, and that's why I'm like, this is on him too. But I think, Mike, your point on having somebody to confide in, I think probably does matter to Jimmy here. So he doesn't just revert to the bad habits of doing everything wrong. So,
well, again, that salary cap thing is also important. All right. Couple quick more things before we let you get out of here, Spencer. We know some of the Browns interviews, they start tomorrow. Jim Schwartz, Tommy Rees, both getting interviews tomorrow. And again, all indications are that they are very serious candidates, both of them, for the Browns head coaching position. A lot of talk being made around Jim Schwartz and the Browns wanting to keep him around. Again, I understand how good this defense has been, and I think maybe that's an ideal situation. But if you find the head coach you love and he says, I want to bring in my defense, you're not going to say no. But Schwartz is going to get a look. Rees is going to get a look. And then the 3 other guys we know they're going to talk to, Todd Monken from Baltimore, Dan Pitcher, a name that is on a lot of people's radars for like down the road. Well, he's going to get an interview from the Bengals. And then Arden, I don't know if it's Dirty or Dirty. I don't know how to say it. I was getting yelled at.
I'm pretty sure it's Dirty. Yeah.
All right, Dirty. The defensive coordinator out there in Seattle. Again, the big name floating out there is John Harbaugh. He hasn't taken any interviews yet, and I guess the report today was that he's not going to until next week at the earliest. And then we'll see what happens. I think you brought up a great point. The Pittsburgh Steelers get bumped out of the playoffs. You might see Mike Tomlin on that market too, because they're getting pretty fed up with not winning playoff games there in Pittsburgh. But I don't know, Spencer. You see the list of names as it initially comes out. Does it tell you anything? Are you seeing anything about the direction of the Browns? What they want to look at, or is it just totally up in the air at this point?
Well, I think one thing I'm trying to keep in mind is the idea that sometimes these head coach interviews are also about kind of getting a feel for a guy if you maybe think they could be a good coordinator on your team too. So I think people need to keep that in mind. Like, just because you see Todd Monken getting an interview, I mean, honestly, the number one thing Todd Monken interview might point to is we've now heard that John Harbaugh was, incredulous that he wasn't going to move on from Todd Monken, and they wanted him gone. And that seemed to be at the, one of the things at the heart of why he's now sort of forced out. So, so keep that in mind. Like, the idea that some of these might be about just kind of getting a sense of who a guy is. They actually did that with Andy Dickerson a couple years ago, where they interviewed him for an OC job, but then he ended up coming to be the O-line coach, and obviously it didn't work out. But so that's just a small example of that. But yeah, Andrew Berry's comments the other day I thought were pretty interesting, where he talked about, the year that they hired Kevin, the organization hired Kevin because he wasn't there yet. But when they hired Kevin, the only team he interviewed with was the Browns. And so sometimes I think they are going to try to think outside the box a little bit. That honestly makes me wonder if this is just a sort of I don't know. I can't call it a conspiracy theory, but like some hot takery, I guess I have, where I'm like, I honestly wouldn't be surprised if this team hires Tommy Rees as their head coach. And the reason is, I think Jimmy Haslam, you guys heard the press conference the other day.
Yep.
He really rebuff the idea that there's dysfunction in the organization, right?
Yes.
And he hates that. He hates when people say they're dysfunctional. So I could see him trying to be like the smartest guy out there and be like, everybody's talking about Tommy Rees. Everybody thinks this guy's the hot shot that's coming up. What if he's probably not ready to be a head coach yet, but what if I get ahead of the curve and I just hire this guy now and say, you're our head coach because we think like you're gonna be a star in a couple years. I wouldn't be surprised if he tried to do that to try to like win back credibility with people, but we'll see. But yeah, I ultimately, for me, and this is no disrespect to Jim Schwartz because I think he's awesome, I just feel like in today's NFL, it's so hard to get a defensive coach and then like have an offense that remains consistent, because you want to get a quarterback and a coach that can kind of be together. And if you're constantly losing your OC, that's tough. So I think I lean offensive mind, but the problem is like I think the defensive coaches that are out there are probably better options right now. Whether it's I really like Robert Saleh as an option. I like Jim Schwartz as a potential option internally. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, I think right now what I've kind of taken away is like, you know, they're really trying to get a diverse group. And I don't mean that from just like what they look like, obviously. I mean like in terms of their backgrounds and the things that they bring to the table. So we'll see what it all means. But just a couple things I think to keep in mind.
Hey, Jimmy Haslam, I know you're listening to this or watching this right now.
Totally, 100%.
He's drinking beers with us, I'm sure.
Whatever your instinct is, do the opposite. Okay. don't follow your instincts. Okay. That'd be great.
Maybe ask D. Ask D on this one. Let's see what D says on this.
And from what I'm getting from what Spencer says, we're going to get that chap from England over there in Seattle.
Oh, yeah. All right, Spencer. It's been great talking Browns. I have to throw this out there. I can't believe Chad hasn't said a thing about it, but are you decked out in Montana Grizzlies gear?
I am. Yeah. I did not go to Montana, by the way. I just love Montana. I visited a couple times.
Let's go.
Every time. Is that where you live, Chad?
No, it is not. It looks like it.
It
looks like it right now. But I got to work the Brawl of the Wild this year. So
that's sick. And then they had a rematch.
Yeah,
in the playoff, which was awesome.
Yeah, I worked the playoff. I didn't work the regular season. I worked the playoff.
Oh, that's awesome, dude. Yeah, every time I've gone out there, I love Glacier. I actually have the sign on the wall behind me.
Let's go.
This Go to the Sun Road is the road that goes through Glacier National Park. I've gone out there like 3 times now. We're planning a trip for next year, not this year, but next year. And every time, 2 of the 3 times I've gone out there, I've flown into Missoula. And I knew, like, you know, the university was there. So, like, we went to campus and walked around. I was like, I'm going to the team shop, but I just bought a whole bunch of shit because I think it's awesome. I mean, dude, like, their logo's a grizzly bear. Like, how do you top that?
Dude.
So,
have you ever seen the Great Divide Trophy? It's unreal.
Yeah, it's awesome. I honestly, it is a bucket list sporting event of mine to go to the Brawl of the Wild. Like, I want to go to the game. I've heard, honestly, like, Montana Stadium is, like, one of the best, like, FCS environments there is. So, at some point, I got to go.
It's electric. It's my new favorite rivalry in college football.
Love it.
It is Spencer, dude. You got to go. Spare no expense to get tickets because it's in Montana next year, I think.
Yeah. I think this year it was in. I think this year.
The playoff was at Montana State.
Oh yeah. The playoff game was at Montana State.
Yeah.
The regular season actual matchup was at Montana, but yeah, I've been to Army Navy because my brother went to the Naval Academy.
Yeah.
And I recommend that to everybody too. Like if you've never been, go. It's the pageantry, everything about it's awesome. But this is like one of the new ones that's like at the top of my list of like, I want to go really bad. So at some point I'll make it happen. But
I get to drive.
Yes, I was going to say.
Yes.
Or if you fly out there, all you got to do is rent a car and you got to drive like 42 hours to the east and you'll be at the Corn Palace in South Dakota.
I got to convince my wife to make that trip. She's always said.
It's a good road trip. It's a great road trip. I did Nashville to Seattle in April.
Okay.
Out here.
See, that's the thing. I'm always down for those like road trips like that. But my wife always pictures it just being such a miserable experience with like kids in the car. And I'm always like, that's fair. It's kind of one of those things where you got to like take the good with the bad. It's like, the kids being crazy is just part of the trip. But I don't know.
Dude. Spencer, this has been a blast. Love drinking some old Christmas beers with you. Again, catch Spencer, 92.3 The Fan, and where else? Browns Roundtable, and Cavs Roundtable, and Locked On Browns, and kind of everything there. Spencer, you do a great job, and we appreciate you coming on, having a beer, and talking Browns with us.
I appreciate you guys. Yeah, anytime. Listen, I'm always down to crack a beer and sit down and talk sports, man. So I love the concept of this show. I've seen you guys do it before, and I appreciate actually getting an invite to come on. So anytime.
Heck yeah, man. Thank you. Appreciate it. Go follow Spencer online at Spencito with the little under the little thing at the bottom. But appreciate you, and we'll talk to you later.
Absolutely, guys. Take it easy.
How about Spencer German coming on?
Joining
us? Good dude, man. Love it. And love. How about the Montana stuff at the end?
Yeah. Well, I was going to say something, but I was waiting for the end of the interview.
I couldn't believe you didn't, Chad.
I was waiting for the end.
You're my asshole of the week. No,
fuck you.
No.
Fuck you, guy.
Whoa. No, big time thank you to Spencer for coming on. All right. We got a few other topics to get to, but middle of the show, that means we have to do our actual asshole of the week. And Chad, you're not my asshole of the week, so don't worry about it.
God.
Oh, you missed it, Chad. Joe made me his cheer of the week right at the beginning.
What? Really? For what?
Joe?
For what? For what? Why? What for?
I got him a new mic.
Okay.
I bought it for him for Christmas.
Nice. It's the same one you have. You guys are twinsies.
Oh my God.
Twinsies.
You guys are trinning.
All right, let's do our asshole of the week. This is where we're going to send it around and just talk about somebody that's been an asshole this week. Might be a person, might be a group, whatever. But let's talk about somebody that's been an asshole. You know what? I'll start it.
Okay. All right.
There's just a lot of people being assholes right now. But I feel like most of it is political, so I try to avoid that.
Okay.
So instead, my asshole of the week is Frontier Airlines.
Oh, I was going to do an airline too. Let's go.
Okay. Yeah, hell yeah.
All right.
More specifically, listen, we took the kids to Disney World, one of the best trips of all time. I can't wait to go back, to be honest with you. It was just awesome. Spent a week down there. Frontier Airlines is great. Process was okay. Tickets are cheap, but they kill you with everything else, bags and all that. So it's really not cheaper, but it's fine. It's fine. But here's why it's the asshole of the week. Because if you want your family to be able to sit together on a Frontier Airlines flight, you have to pay like $25 to upgrade your seats. Otherwise, like, I have a 4-year-old daughter. They could put her in one spot, and they could put my 8-year-old son in one spot. They'll just move you around. So if you don't upgrade your seats, you don't get to pick where you sit.
Yeah.
Or not even pick where you sit. You don't get to have your seats together. So we paid money to upgrade, not even upgrade, just to be able to sit together. We paid dollars out of our pockets. And we got the last row of the airplane, and we didn't even have a window. We were just like walled in the airplane. And I'm like, I looked at my wife, I go, because my wife booked it. I go, we paid for this? Like extra on top of what we paid to get on the plane? And she was like, yeah, we couldn't sit together if we didn't. Unbelievable. That is, if you're going to ask people, if you're going to have people pay for seats, you don't put them in the back where there's no windows. There's no windows. We landed, and I'm like, holy shit. I didn't know whether we were at 10,000 or 4.
We're on the ground.
Jesus Christ. The people that don't upgrade, smash them into the back. I don't even care I don't want to be in the front. I'm not trying to have first class seats. Not that they have those on Frontier. I'm not trying to be bougie and whatever. But, like, we paid money. You don't put us in row 40. Frontier's my asshole of the week. Joe, keep it going with the airlines.
Yeah, we'll keep it going. Fuck Delta.
Oh, no.
I know. Usually they're good. And their planes are nice. But coming back from New York, we had a flight to JFK that left Saturday. And it left at like 7 p.m. We went to bed the night before, had many, many drinks. We're like, all right, we can sleep in. We got like an hour and a half train ride to get to JFK because we were upstate a little bit. And we woke up at like 9:30 to a text saying our flight was canceled. And so sorry, we cannot rebook you on another one. It's like, well, fuck. We got to go.
Looks like we're
and
walking, babe.
So, call the customer service, 5.5 hour wait time to talk to anybody.
Jesus.
Finally, they send you a link that you can rebook yourself. So we had to sort through all the flights. Finally found one, but it left from Newark in like 4 hours, and we were a 2.5 hour train ride from Newark. And we're like, oh, and we haven't packed because we're like, oh, let's pack in the morning. We have, literally all day to do this. Otherwise, we'd have to leave like the next night, and it just wasn't an option for us.
Jesus.
So we got packing. We talked a friend into giving us a ride an hour into the city to go to Newark to drop us off. And it ended up all working out. Had a layover in Atlanta, which is just
so much fun.
It's fun. It's just the most fine airport ever. Like it, on paper, it makes sense. Everything's in like a vertical line, and they got a little train that takes you back and forth. But like,
it's the Burger King of airports.
Not to be a bitch, but like the aesthetic of the airport is just like weird. It's just, it's a weird place to be. I feel like gross being in there. But we, no delays from that point on. We made it home. But like, fucked up. And they didn't even give us a credit. Like we were like, okay, we could Uber in, but it would cost us like literally $150 to Uber to Newark from their house. Like, will you pay for that?
No, they're going to Uber to Seattle. That'd be a payday, huge payday.
Huge payday.
Anybody got 7 days?
Hey, if you do that, you could stop at the Corn Palace, baby.
Hey, round two, How many people from out of state have been to the Corn Palace twice in a year? Not many.
All right, the airlines are getting smashed here on Asshole of the Week. What about you, Chad? What's your
my asshole is Lost Nation Local Airport. Do you have any idea how many single-engine planes are flying over my house right now?
Sons of bitches.
No, my asshole is the NCAA, and mainly for not regulating the transfer portal at the end, because this is just getting just ridiculous. Listen, I've always been a big proponent that these college players, these college football players should be getting paid. They should be getting money always. But I think in the fact that they didn't put any sort of regulations on it is starting to ruin college football, because you're looking at this portal right now. A third of these guys of Division I players are in the portal right now. And I think it's, if it continues on this path, I think it's going to ruin the sport a little bit. Not even a little bit, a lot, because it's not cultivating any sort of team environment. It's not cultivating any sort of development. It's not coordinate. I mean, I don't want to go to loyalty, because you should be able to, if something happens, you should be able to transfer if you want to. But it just feels like just a money grab now. It's free agency, and this is what everybody asked for, right? I'm not mad at that. Like, this is what everybody wanted, but at the same time, you just see it going down. It's going to ruin the sport. It's going to ruin. It's going to go all the way down to the high school levels, right? It's going to ruin high school recruiting. Why would a major college program now go, unless you're a top tier prospect in high school? Why would a major college program go look at somebody? All you got to do is go fishing in the portal now to rebuild your program. So I think it is an absolute mess right now. So yeah, my asshole of the week is the NCAA transfer portal.
It'd be nice if it was just like a little harder to transfer. Like, I don't think like you should, because like I
gotta change it up.
The idea of transferring, but like make it like a little harder. Either there's some type of like NIL ineligibility to transfer, or there's some additional, like, I don't know, something with credits, class credits, or I don't know, just something to make it like a little less enticing, so that's like a thought that goes into it, instead of just like, I can get $1 million if I go to Illinois or whatever.
But money is a part of it, but I also think fundamentally it comes down to who are you to tell somebody where they can and can't go to college.
I agree, but it's just, I do agree with Chad that it does, like, there is an element that it messes with the integrity of the sport and recruiting down to the high school level. I think that's totally valid. And I don't think you should get rid of it. Like, you still like allow everybody to do it, but like just make it a little less enticing somehow. Yeah.
I'm not saying it needs to go away. Go away. I'm just saying it needs to change up, because you're going to get paid whether you stay at your school or you go somewhere else. Right. So it's But for instance, you need to look no further than Bryce West, right? Bryce West. He was going to be a starter on this defense this year. There's no reason for Bryce West to go from Ohio State to fucking Wisconsin. There's none, as from a football standpoint. So it's just chasing a payday. I think it's in a dangerous spot right now. So I think it just needs to be mixed up a little bit.
For me, I just think it's weird that this is such a. I don't disagree that they should always be looking at whether they can make something better than what it currently is. But, ultimately, from just we talk about loyalty, we talk about the way people are treated and the way they're treated, whatever. Ultimately, these players, it's only a problem when they're moving, but like you can have a player that a head coach goes in and sits down at their house. Ryan Day can go sit down at a player's house and be like, you're going to come in, you're going to learn year one, we're going to get you on the field year two, make all these promises, but then the next year somebody at that same position that's a 5-star recruit can come in, and then it's just like, nah, never mind, that guy is the guy. Nobody cares about that. Nobody cares about that. So, like, the schools can do whatever they want to the players. That I think the players should do whatever they want. Who gives a shit?
See, but I think it's
why do they have to be committed? It's always been my problem. The word I'm committed. Committed for what reason? Go wherever the hell you want to go to college. They don't have to be committed anywhere because these schools are committed to these kids. They're not committed. They're not. They're not. They can move on. They can bench these kids. They can move on from these kids anytime they want. Anytime they want.
Yeah, but you're going into a football program with the understanding that you still have to work to get on the field. That doesn't matter. I mean, that's from high school on up to the NFL level. You still have to work to get on the field. All you can do is sell your program to them. Yeah. So, but if someone comes in and outperforms you, that's football. That has nothing to do with, you're committed to these kids. Sure. You can be committed all you want to the development, but if you're going to,
you could be talking about two. Okay. All you got to do is go back to Ohio State. You could be talking about two elite players outperforming each other. Justin Fields outperforms Joe Burrow. Should Joe Burrow have just sat there and not went and won a Heisman in LSU? Like, what are we doing here?
No, Mike. You were talking about two different things, right? Just now, like you just said before, you go and you sell your program to this kid. Year one, you're going to develop. Year two, you're going to get onto the field, and then a 5-star prospect comes in. That's a completely different situation.
It's not really.
Yes, it is.
It's not.
Yes, it is.
Why?
Yes, it is.
Why. Imagine. I'll tell you what. Imagine being a quarterback, a development quarterback on Ohio State last year, when you think, okay, now I'm going to get my shot. And then they bring in Will Howard. Go play wherever they're going to let you play. Go play. Ultimately, it's their lives. I don't know why everybody feels like they have to say something about it. It's not a problem with anything. It's just go play where you want to play.
It's not. I think it goes a little deeper than just go play where you want to play. I think it goes a little deeper than that.
Yeah, listen, I think you could lay some regulations down on the money side of it. But like ultimately, I'm never going to have an issue with players doing what's best for them. Never, ever, ever. Or what they think is best for them. Because, look, you see it in the comments. Chocolate Bear here. Great name. Coaches will jump whenever they want. See ya.
Yeah, but it's not on a year-to-year basis. It's not. It's not. Not at the big level. Absolutely not. It's not on a year-to-year basis.
What do you mean?
You got kids going like who's a 4-year guy who's going to be at 4 different schools now. That's not coaches. I agree that coaches do jump ship. They absolutely. I'm not trying to say they don't, but it's not on a year-to-year basis like this. Like some of these, like a lot of these players are doing.
But who cares?
Okay.
First, and the other thing is, what players are jumping ship year to year? That, like, give me a player that's jumped ship year to year, just every year jump ship.
Oh God, I just read it today. I can't.
No. I know they exist. But like, God, they're like going to be the mid-level type guys. And they're just trying to make their way up. It's not like Jeremiah Smith's going to play at Ohio State and then Miami and then Texas. And like, it's not going to work that way.
I was just reading a few of these guys. A lot of these guys are former 5-stars too, that jump ship.
I do. I think so. This is my thing. The timing. I agree with Chocolate Bear here. My thing is the timing. And it's the same thing with coaches. You shouldn't be. Lane Kiffin should not have been allowed to do what he did this year. But I also think the timing of players and signing days and the portal opening and all that is so off.
Yeah, I guess that's what I'm getting at. That's the kind of changes I'm getting at.
Yes. I will agree with you all day long on the timing of it should be fixed. But otherwise, go play wherever you want. I don't give a shit if you played 4 schools in 4 years. Who gives a shit? It's your life. And to act like you have to be committed to a team. No, you don't. You didn't sign a contract. You signed a commitment.
I mean, NIL, you're signing contracts now. NIL, you're signing contracts.
And if you break the contract, what happens?
You die.
You're dead as hell. I don't know. I do agree. I think the timing for me is the biggest thing. But go play wherever the hell you want. Who gives a shit? Anyways, that totally invalidates Chad's asshole of the week, and I was glad to do it.
It didn't. It didn't at all.
Speaking of college football, this will just be like we'll hit a couple quick hitter topics. But again, guys, we haven't talked since December 23rd. So college football is now a couple weeks into their playoff. We are down to the final 4 teams, and those final 4 teams are number 1 seed Indiana, which in 2 years in this new college football playoff are the only bye week team to win a football game. The Indiana Hoosiers, the Oregon Ducks took down Texas Tech. Ole Miss, Lane Kiffin left them. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
They take down Georgia.
You were wrong again, Mike.
Yeah, apparently. And the one that hurts us all the most, the Miami Hurricanes from the trenches destroy the Ohio State Buckeyes from a physical standpoint. Ohio State just wasn't ready for it, and the freaking Miami Hurricanes, the last team in, are in the semifinals. So let's start with Ohio State for a minute, guys, because, I mean, what a special year they had. But this happened to both of my favorite teams. Undefeated all the way throughout the year, and then they lose their last 2 games. And Ohio State did that. They lose to Indiana in the Big Ten Championship, and then they lose to Miami. And I don't know, like where do we feel after that Miami game? Because, man, I want to be pissed. I want to be angry. That Miami team is not as good as Ohio State, but and Miami just enforced their will, and Ohio State couldn't do anything about it. Like, I don't know. I feel like I want to give more credit to Miami than I do want to be pissed at Ohio State.
You look like you're ready to talk, Joe.
I didn't watch the game, so it's got to be you, Chad. I was drunk.
Oh yeah, he was in New York.
Yeah.
Listen, I mean,
I was watching it. I was watching it on the Pirates of the Caribbean ride at Disney World.
I think all of the big game questions, and I think all of for Ryan Day, I think all of the narratives that have come out about Ohio State have returned because of this. Miami smacked you in the mouth on both sides of the football, and they did it for 4 quarters. You know, I don't really want to hear anything about 25 days off, right? I mean, yes, there is going to be a little bit of rust to shake off, but that's not there's no excuse to not come out with the same intensity and emotion that you came out with last year. No, there's none. There's absolutely none. There's no reason why you had to wait till halftime to make those adjustments that you did, because they came out in that second half and they looked like they were going to make a huge comeback, and they did.
Right.
There's some things that were inexcusable to me, but in the end, Miami just hit you hard. I mean, Miami made Carnell Tate look like a little bitch in that game. Carnell Tate was nowhere to be found. You saw that one little clip where he was wide open down the middle of the field, but he was hearing footsteps. You saw it as he kind of short. I mean, there was no better example than him kind of staying in the same spot and just reaching out, hoping he didn't get hit on that comeback route.
Yes.
Late in the fourth quarter. So really, that's it. Miami's offense is not impressive at all, right?
No.
Their offensive talent, their offensive play calling, everything about Miami's offense is not impressive except for that offensive line. They were a brick fucking wall. It didn't matter, especially in that first half. It didn't matter what Ohio State did as far as bringing pressure and in the run game. Miami just Ohio State could not do anything defensively. And that's really just what it comes down to is Miami they just beat the shit out of Ohio State, and it turned into a win for Miami.
Here's a question for you guys. I think Ryan Day has been spectacular, especially when it comes to the skill positions, the wide receivers. I mean, obviously, quarterback. I think Julian Say. I don't feel different about Julian Say now. That was his first year, and I think he'll be better next year.
Yeah.
He's been good at skill positions, but I've always thought you could question Ryan Day when it comes to the way he builds in the trenches.
Yeah.
I think Ohio State has this long-standing tradition of these just like go to defense, and we're talking about Chase Young and the Bosas and these guys that are these monster edge rushers that get after you all the time, and offensive line, and you think about some of the great players that have played along the offensive line at Ohio State, and I don't know that I would say Ryan Day has excelled in either one of those areas. And I think when you run into a team like Miami, again, we've seen it over the years. I mean, when you've gone through these losing stretches to Michigan, they've beat you in the trenches. Indiana beat you up in the trenches. Miami beat you up in the trenches. I think there should be some sort of focus with Ryan Day, Matt Patricia, the entire coaching staff on, hey, listen, we've built ourselves into wide receiver U. We're going to get wide receivers. We're going to get cornerbacks. We're going to get these guys that want to come big, make a big name for themselves. But man, oh man, we need to build in these trenches, because even last year, I know Jack Sawyer was a pretty good player. I know JT Tuimoloau was a pretty good player, but we're not that's not the Bosas. Like, that's not that level. They got to find a way. Like, I think they've patchworked their way into things in the trenches, but like, they got to find a way to get back to being like a team that can maul you up front, because they cannot do that right now.
Yeah, I know they got a 5-star edge in DJ Jacobs coming. Well, at least for now, who is supposed to be a badass. But I will give the defense this. The defensive line kind of held their own, right? Miami didn't really rip off a ton of big runs. They had like 2 big runs, one in the most critical time of the game.
You're correct.
But they kind of did hold their own, but it wasn't. Miami just grinded it out offensively, right?
But just to go back to what I was saying before, I'm thinking more along the lines of disruption in the backfield.
Sure. Okay.
And I'm thinking more along the lines of, especially like in passing downs, disruptive in the backfield. And when Ohio State is disruptive in the backfield, I think it's because of the play calling.
Sure.
I don't think it's because of the players.
Yeah.
And sometimes you got to have guys where maybe you call a little bit more of a conservative play call in a certain situation. You need a guy to win. And they didn't have a lot of guys that were just, I mean, Arvell Reese can win.
Yeah.
But like, you need guys that can go out there and just win all the time. And I feel like in the trenches, Ohio State was missing that. I feel like they were missing it all season long, but they were just so much better than every team they played. It didn't matter.
Yeah. From that aspect, I agree for sure. Defensively, they need to find a way to disrupt in the backfield for sure. And then offensively, I want that offensive line, whoever it is, to just live in the weight room this offseason, take steroids. I don't know, whatever. Just get tougher.
Right.
because that stigma has returned, whether you like it or not. I don't care about the national championship last year. That stigma has returned. When it happens more often than not, it's there now. Again, Ohio State is soft up front, and you can smack them in the mouth and rattle them a little bit. And again, you look at Julian saying, yes, I do think he's going to get better.
Yeah, he'll be better next year.
But he was so rattled that even when he had time, I don't think he felt like he had time.
Correct.
So I think he rushed a lot in that game, and it cost him. It cost him.
Well, yeah, it cost him the whole season.
Yeah.
Phil, who is definitely a bot, says in the comments, Urban always watched the first defensive drive and offensive drive looking straight down the line, as I recall. He knew that would tell him how the game would go. Yeah. I mean, again, Ryan Day's been great at the fun stuff, but like, we got to go trenches. They got to go trenches. Anyways, so after all was said and done last weekend and the havoc was raised, it sets up 2 games this weekend. It sets up 2 really interesting games. One rematch, and then one between 2 teams that I don't think a lot of people pick to be where they're at. And so let's start with that game. Thursday, January 8th, which is tomorrow, we are going to get the last team in the playoff, the Miami Hurricanes, who beat my Texas A&M Aggies, and they beat also my Ohio State Buckeyes to get to where they're at. I fucking hate this team. And they're taking on the old.
Well, remember, college football is better with Miami. Good.
Yeah, I did say that, but
yeah,
not this year. Not this year.
Not this year.
They're taking on Ole Miss, who lost their coach Lane Kiffin because he's the scum of the earth. And then they destroyed Tulane, and then they won a hell of a game against Georgia.
It's the best game of the weekend.
It's Miami, and it's Ole Miss. What do you guys think?
Fuck Lane Kiffin. Let's go Ole Miss, dude.
Hey!
That'd be sick. I would love for Ole Miss to win it all at this point.
Yeah, I think, as bad as I said Miami's offense is, I think they can score touchdowns on this Ole Miss defense. But Trinidad Chambliss, I think his escapability is going to play a huge factor in this game against that Miami pass rush. And those Ole Miss receivers are fucking good, like really good, like top 5 unit in the nation at least. They're big, they're strong, they're fast, they're athletic. I have a lot of trust in that, and they have so much chemistry with Trinidad. It feels like that whenever he does start scrambling, they know exactly where to go, and he knows exactly where to put the football. Yeah. So, I think Ole Miss wins this game. I think it's going to be a high-scoring affair, high-scoring game, because, like I said, I think Miami's going to be able to score some touchdowns. Do they have a Carson Beck interception game or not? If they don't, it's going to be close. But if they do, Ole Miss runs away with it. Give me old freaking Miss. Can I do one of my cheers? I have 2 cheers. Speaking of Ole Miss, can I do one of my cheers?
Go ahead.
How about Joe Judge saying Aaron Hernandez was my next door neighbor? This week has been chaos.
It's not great.
What the fuck? What the fuck kind of quote? He's like, how has this week been for you? It's been pretty chaotic. He's like, well, Aaron Hernandez was my neighbor.
So it could be worse.
So this week is
this weekend being that bad. That's all good. All good.
Good Lord.
All right. Yeah. It's an interesting game because Miami's the team you think could fall apart at any time. Because Carson, we've seen it with Beck. We've seen it. But they're also the team that you're going to, that in my brain, I think is going to fall apart every week. I thought they were going to fall apart against A&M. They didn't. I thought they were certainly going to fall apart against Ohio State. They didn't.
They almost did. They almost did,
but they didn't.
Yeah.
And when push came to shove in that game, Chad, they were the tougher team than Ohio State.
Oh, when they asshole of the week, Jaden Fielding, by the way. That's all.
When they needed plays, they made them.
Yeah.
And I think they are. I think they are just so difficult up front. Offensive line, you're going to have a top 10 draft pick at left tackle. Defensive line, you're going to have a top 10 draft pick in Reuben Bain. And God, the guy across from him is, God, feels like almost as good.
Mesidor could be a late first, second round pick.
I agree with you, Chad. I think Trinidad Chambliss is going to be the difference maker. But I think Miami's going to make this way uncomfortable. I think they're going to make it way uncomfortable, and I think Ole Miss is going to have to pull out all the stops to get the win.
Sure. Yeah. All right.
Joe, final score prediction. Go.
24-17. One of the teams. Ole Miss.
24-17. Somebody.
Chris asked in the comments, and it said, this question is for you, Mike, Chad, Joe. Chad, take it, buddy. Do you see any similarities between Trinidad Chambliss and Shedeur Sanders?
No, boy. Oh, boy. Well, about 4 inches in height. I personality-wise, I don't know. I mean, I don't know anything about Trinidad.
Hey, they both play quarterback.
They do both play quarterback.
Yeah.
Are they both right-handed?
They're both right-handed.
Yeah, they're righties.
They
both wear helmets.
Trinidad doesn't throw as many screens as Shedeur did in college to use as their run game.
Look at that. I knew this comment was coming. Don't worry, Phil. We're not going there, pal. We're not going there.
That's the comment I wanted to avoid.
Yeah, correct. Nobody's going there.
Nobody's going there.
I don't see it.
No.
Trinidad Chambliss is an escape artist. He's really good, man. He's really, really good.
Yeah.
He's an escape artist. He is, I think.
He doesn't hold on to the football that long.
No. I think he's a very good passer of the football. Like I think Shedeur Sanders is actually a very good passer of the football. But Trinidad, I think, leans into his athleticism. I think Trinidad, I think he's cool with being on the run if he needs to. And I think Shedeur is more pocket presence. You don't really want Shedeur running the ball a lot. I know he does every once in a while, but you don't really want it to happen too much. Like, I think there's a difference. There's a difference.
You know who Trinidad kind of reminds me of? And this is college version, not pro version.
Go on.
College Lamar, kind of. He kind of reminds me of.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
So, anyways, that's your answer. All right, the other game, the rematch. Indiana, Oregon. 2 Big Ten teams. Oregon demolished Texas Tech. And Indiana, not to be outdone, just made Alabama their bitch. Indiana just destroyed Alabama. Just not in a game that wasn't even close. I know Alabama lost their quarterback, but shoot, most of their fans wanted that to happen anyways. So we've got the rematch. And in Eugene this year, Indiana went out and took care of Oregon in that game.
Well, not took care of. That was a great game.
I mean, it was a good game, but Indiana went out and won it.
They did win.
At Oregon's house.
It wasn't like a blowout.
I didn't say it was a blowout. They just took care of them. That was it. That's all I said, you jerk. Don't be a jerk. So
big doo-doo face.
So, Joe, you got a lot to say about it. So you start us off. Does Indiana do it twice, or does Oregon get their revenge?
I think Indiana does it twice. I really want Oregon to win this game, though. I feel like I just don't want to see Indiana have success. I don't know. I just don't like Kirk Cignetti.
You know, it's a shit state. Okay, that's why.
Yeah.
I hate Indiana.
They can't even put beer in their goddamn freezers. They're not freezers. They're fridges at gas stations. It's all sitting out. It's all warm.
Have you ever driven on the roads in that damn state? You drive from Ohio, and it's like nice paved roads, which it shouldn't be, but it is. And then you get to Indiana, and you feel like Jim Carrey in Ace Ventura 2 when he's driving around on the dirt roads. Indiana sucks.
I had some bad experiences in Indiana.
Okay, so here we go. It's personal
That's all
for
right.
Joe. It's not football.
And, I
Personal.
went to a Metallica concert in Louisville. We stayed across the river in Indiana. We had a bad hotel experience. The beer was warm. It was just, just wasn't inviting for me.
Listen, warm beers is a disqualifier. Disqualifier.
It's disqualifier. I will say I think Indiana has this game in the shoe. I just don't want them to. But they just look unstoppable.
Yeah. It's I mean, obviously it goes back to the old cliche. It's tough to beat a team twice in the same year, but I just think it's going to be a lot closer in this game, than it was. Indiana pulled away in that game in Eugene, but I just think Indiana is the most complete team left of the four teams. They're just so good. And they're rolling, they're firing on all cylinders now. I think Oregon's going to be able to disrupt them a lot. And I think they're going to make things really, really close. But I think in the end, Indiana's just going to make a few more plays than Oregon did. Is going to.
Here's the issue I have. I don't know what I learned about Oregon because I don't know if what everybody was saying was true. And what I mean by that is, man, I really bought into Texas Tech. A lot of us bought into Texas Tech, but a lot of people were saying, Big 12. Ugh. Yeah, they played BYU and beat them twice, but otherwise,
yeah.
Was BYU even that good? Was it just Big 12 good? And then Oregon just handles Texas Tech like it was nothing, by the way. It was nothing. And I don't know what I learned about Oregon in that game. Other than
I think you learned more about Texas Tech in that game.
I think I learned about the Big 12, not trusting that ever again.
Never trusted them to begin with.
I did. I trusted Texas Tech because man, oh man. But I don't know what I learned about Oregon. I've learned a lot about Indiana the last few weeks.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The physical domination of Ohio State. I know it was a close game, but just physically dominating Ohio State. And then you don't just beat Alabama by about 100 in a playoff game. That doesn't happen a lot. And they pretty much did.
Yeah.
And I love this. It's a matchup between the two guys that are probably the top two picks in the draft.
Yeah.
And I love the game. I love the setup. I'm with you, Joe. I want Kurt Cignetti to lose because you can't walk into a job and talk as much shit as he did and just be that good right from the start. But
no,
I think Indiana's going to beat Oregon.
The guy's a masochist. He's a masochist.
He sure is.
Yeah. I mean, Joe, he doesn't wear a shirt underneath his quarter zip. He just
weird as hell.
Zipper to skin.
That's a little chafy for me, man.
He loves the pain. He loves the pain.
It's a little chafy. All right, boys. So that would set us up. If that happens, that would set us up with Indiana versus Ole Miss.
Let's go.
For the national championship, just like we all predicted 2 months ago.
Of course.
I still had Oregon going, by the way.
I know you did, but
just saying.
We'll see. All right, fellas, let's do our cheers of the week and get out of here as it is 10:38 and I am tired. Again, I did the Disney trip with the kids. It wasn't quite as financially damaging this time around.
Good.
But I don't know that I'm ever not going to be tired again. I think I'm just tired for the rest of my life. I think that's what it is. I think that's what it is.
That's what it is with kids, man.
Yep. So let's do our cheers of the week. Who's got one to start with?
Well, go ahead, Joe, if you want to.
Sure. Had a fantastic break and holiday season. But I will cheer specifically. We went with a bunch of friends to New York. We had a couple of friends that live in New York, and then a bunch of friends from Nashville came out to hang out for a week out there over New Year's. And the day before New Year's Eve, we went to a fish show at MSG.
Nice.
And let me tell you, it was great. Awesome time. Many beers we had. We also sat on the bridge that goes above the 300 section at MSG. which is such a cool spot. Like if you watched a hockey game, I don't know if basketball would be good from there, but hockey would be awesome from that bridge level. I will say, like during the show though, like the bridge moves. Like when people are like bouncing and spinning like they do at a fish show, like
it's because
the beer.
the only way to combat it is like also to bounce and move with the bridge. Otherwise, it's just like, oh no.
All right.
But cheers to the trip and hanging out with the friends and the boys at a fish show. It was a good time.
I've seen Fish a couple of times. Amazing.
Many beers were
Great show
that night, Phil. Yeah.
Chad.
Great show. Well, when while Mike's bank account got drained because of a Disney trip, your boys got a little boost. Your boy Chad here got a little boost because of the comeback effort he made to win back-to-back championships in our fantasy league. Let's go.
I know I got to get you your money. Got to get you your money.
Thank you, Brock Purdy.
I have posted it.
Thank you, Brock Purdy, for coming back, for getting me 40 points that game to only have Puka. Thank God, because he had one of his worst games, or he probably had his worst game of the fantasy season. But to get me just enough to put me over the edge, I am now the standard in this fantasy league. Let's go.
First back-to-back champion since me, baby.
Let's go.
Since me.
Oh,
I was the original. No, congrats. That's fine. My cheer is going to be show-oriented. And listen, we do it. We're going into year 6 of doing Garage Beers. And every year we cheers our guests. In 2025, we had a massive list of guests, an incredible list of guests, a list of guests that when we look back, I don't know about you guys. Yeah, I do. I know you guys are the same as me on this. I wonder how we get all these people and how they say yes. And from general managers and coaches and players and Hall of Famers and broadcasters and media members and everywhere in between. Every time I talk to somebody that knows about our show, and again, we've done this for 6 years. This show isn't about trying to see how many people and how many views and whatever. It's just about having a good time and talking sports over a beer or 3. It's always the same comment. Man, you guys get some crazy guests. And it's all luck. Although I will say at this point, it's luck and it's connections.
Yeah.
Thankfully, we've made some connections, but to all of the guests that joined us in 2025, they get my cheers. And I'll give one to Spencer tonight. Our first guest of 2026.
Boom.
I'll give Spencer a guest or a cheers for this too. Look at Joe. Would you quit it? You are pissing Chris off.
Oh my God.
So
Does
much.
that piss you off, Chris?
Knock that shit off.
What?
Joe. Knock it off.
Rage bait.
Chris, hit him, dude. Hit him, bruh. Joe, you're being a dick. You're being a dick, and Chris is calling you out. No, but to all of our guests from 25, a big cheers. And to all the guests in 26, including February 4th. I want to put this on your calendar now. February 4th, episode 300. Again, episode 100 was Austin Carr and Joe Thomas and Rick Nash. And episode 200 was Kenny Lofton and Eric Metcalf and 2-time Heisman Trophy winner Archie Griffin. And episode 300 is going to be big. So you're going to want to stay tuned. February 4th, episode 300. We've got some shows before that, but to all of our guests in 25, cheers. To all the guests coming up in 26, cheers and beyond. But we appreciate everybody that says yes and comes on and talks sports with us and usually drinks a beer with us. So we appreciate all that. So that's going to do it for episode 296 of Garage Beers. We're going to get out of here for this one. We'll talk to you next week for episode 297. Big thank you goes out to Spencer German for joining us. First guest of 26. Huge shout out to him for joining us. Big shout out to the OBR for hosting us. Get over to the OBR.com. hit subscribe, become a part of the Best Browns community, and hang out with us at the same time. And a big shout out to you guys. The comments were great tonight. I know sometimes like YouTube can only see YouTube and Twitch can only see Twitch and all that, but the comments were great tonight. So big shout out to you if you joined us live. If you miss us live, remember you can always catch us either on YouTube or Twitch later or on our podcast version on Apple, Spotify, everywhere you get your podcasts. Again, that'll do it for us tonight. For Joe out in Seattle at Garage Beers, Joe for Chad over on the east side of Cleveland at Garage Beers, Chad, I'm Michael Keefe at Garage Beers. Mike, go follow the show at The Garage Beers on all the socials. And until next week, we'll see you later. Cheers, everybody.